As the sports adage goes, anything can happen. Case in point, with 4 weeks in the books in Athletes Unlimited softball, timely hitting, stellar defensive plays, and dominating pitching equate to the best players in the world battling it out for the right to be called champion. Will one of the 4 captains be the top player by week's end, or will there be a surprise from the pack that makes a last-minute push? Our final draft special here on YouTube begins right now. Welcome inside our studios. I'm John Brickley. Thanks so much for joining us. A special shout-out as well to all of our Unlimited Club members. We're always appreciative of your support. All right, here they are, the 4 captains. 3 of the 4 are back once again. 1 newcomer to the pack. We'll introduce you to all 4 captains coming up in just a moment. But in the meantime, let's get you right to the draft rules of this Week 5 draft special. And there are 15 players on each team, but the captains represent the first pick for their respective teams. So each captain will select 14 players to form their roster. The draft order is going to snake, starting with purple, and every captain will get 2 minutes per pick. Now, the captains must end up with a team that includes 4 pitchers, 2 catchers, 3 middle infielders, 3 corner infielders, and 3 outfielders. So let's meet the captains. First up, this player returns as a captain for the 3rd straight time this season. She sits 4th overall on the leaderboard with 1,316 points. Her power at the plate has her hitting .413, 19 hits, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. Out of Alabama, wearing purple, outfielder Haley McClenny. And her facilitator this week is going to be Jen Salling. Up next, a first-time captain this season and a pitcher in the chair for the first time in 3 weeks. She ranks 3rd in leaderboard points with 1,316, 4-0 record on the season with a daunting 1.62 ERA, including back-to-back complete games over the weekend. This week, she's donning the blue. Let's introduce you to pitcher Alyssa Denham. And the facilitator this week for her is going to be Charlotte Morgan. The next player is a captain in 4 of the 5 weeks in Athletes Unlimited. Her timely drafting of 3 of the top 4 pitchers catapulted her to the number 2 spot with 1,394 points. Her 5 home runs ranked 2nd in the league. Wearing orange this time around, first baseman Amanda Chittister. And her facilitator this week is going to be Tatum Edwards. Lastly, this player is yet to relinquish the top spot, number 1 overall in the last 3 weeks. Her 1,462 points are 98 better than 2nd place. She's tops in batting average at .432 on the season, and her 7 home runs are the best in Athletes Unlimited softball. Out of Arizona, wearing the gold this week, Deja Molipola. And her facilitator this week is going to be Ellie Cooper. So this is what they're playing for. Week 5, the final week in Rosemont, Illinois. The action starts off on Friday on ESPN+. You can catch the games on Saturday on ESPNU starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Sunday, it all wraps up on ESPN+ when a champion will be crowned. Here's how the scoring system works. Players earn points in a variety of ways. Win points are all about the team performance. Players accumulate points individually through their stats and MVP votes, and with their teammates for overall inning and game wins. Each inning is worth 10. Overall games are worth 50. So we have put together everything ready to go. Haley is standing by, ready to make the first pick of this Week 5 draft special.
With the first pick, I'm taking Chitty's fiance. No, I'm playing. Pitcher, Danielle O'Toole.
I didn't even hear.
Chitty's fiance.
Some more of the words
Pitcher
going on there.
Danielle O'Toole.
Danielle O'Toole, the number 1 overall pick, the 3rd different player this year to be picked number 1 overall in Athletes Unlimited, a 3.03 ERA with a 3-2 mark on the season in 34 innings of work with 22 strikeouts on the season. Right now, she could be that dark horse in the middle of the pack right now at the number 5 spot in the leaderboard points. And as you see players who hear their names being called by the respective captains, they will zoom in to the draft room for the respective captains. Alyssa Denham, ready to go with her first pick as captain.
Pitcher, Rachel Garcia. Pitcher, Rachel Garcia.
Okay, so the former Bruin, Rachel Garcia, who herself was a #1 overall pick 2 times this season in year number 3 of Athletes Unlimited. Talk about a dynamic duo in the pitching circle. Rachel Garcia and Alyssa Denham, who each battled their way through against one another over the weekend, in which it was Denham that came away with the victory in her complete game. So Garcia will be wearing the blue this week, the #1 overall pick for Alyssa Denham.
That was a good one, Halo. That was a good one. Middle infielder, my fiance, Anissa Urtez.
No surprise there, Team Chittister with Anissa Urtez, the 2-time #1 overall pick and one of the best defensive players in all of Athletes Unlimited. In fact, if you go to last year, she's the reigning Geico Defensive Player of the Year. See the numbers on the screen, 325 on the season, 4 home runs and 9 RBIs, and those two have just been a dynamic duo over the last few weeks. And so Urtez is wearing orange, and Deja is going to round out our first round.
Ready. Pitcher, Taylor McQuillan.
So a third pitcher of the 4 first picks here in Athletes Unlimited's first round in week number 5. And McQuillan, who also picked up 100 MVP points over the weekend. She had 2 fantastic outings in the circle. In fact, she got over 100 stat points without a single point deducted for runs allowed. She is a huge get for Deja to pick up as the final pick in the first round. And as the snake draft continues, Deja is standing by with her next pick.
Middle infielder, Hannah Flippin.
So after going pitcher to end out round number 1 as the snake draft continues, as Deja was in a position to pick #1 to start round number 2, Hannah Flippin out of Utah. The middle infielder is grabbed and will be joining the rest of her team as she joins in on the draft room for Team Molipola. 375 average, 2 home runs, and 6 RBIs. There she is, just under 1,200 leaderboard points, which puts her 7th overall in the league standings. And she will be wearing gold this coming weekend in Rosemont, Illinois for the final week of season number 3 of Athletes Unlimited Softball. And with Team Chittister standing by for the next pick, this is what she and the rest of the teams are looking at the draft board. And Amanda is ready to go with her pick.
Pitcher, Mariah Mazon.
Okay, so Team Chittister, after going middle infielder with Urtez, Mazon is the next selection here for Amanda Chittister in round number 2. And so you'll see in the corner, those pitchers or select position players will be on the screen and they will join in the draft room. And what's great about Athletes Unlimited with the draft, the facilitator who acts like the assistant GM, she along with the teammates and the captain work with each other to figure out the vision for these respective captains in formulating their teams. And Alyssa Denham ready with her next pick.
Outfielder, Amanda Lorenz.
The former Gator wearing blue this coming weekend in Rosemont, Illinois. Alyssa Denham, first time in the chair. First pitcher, in fact, in the chair in 3 weeks. And these are the type of highlights that you'll be seeing all season long for Amanda Lorenz. How about that? I mean, if that's not a SportsCenter top 10, I don't know what is. So she will be wearing blue this coming weekend in the draft room. There she is, along with the facilitator, Charlotte Morgan, Rachel Garcia, who was the first pick for Alyssa Denham. And so that leaves Haley McClenny, who this week is wearing the purple. And how it goes with the colors, gold is the #1 player, followed by orange, blue, and purple. That rounds out the top 4. So Haley McClenny, who went with Danielle O'Toole with her first pick, the first pick overall in this Week 5 draft special. What will the former Alabama star go in the direction next? Could it be another pitcher, another position player, potentially another outfielder? We'll have to see And she has 2 minutes, each captain with 2 minutes per pick to make their selection. And there's a look in the draft room for Team McClenny. Jen Sowling, upper right corner of your screen, the facilitator this week. And Haley is ready to make her pick.
Then we have another hitter to decide on. Pitcher, Peyton St. George.
Back-to-back pitchers is what Haley decides to go with. So Daniel O'Toole and then Peyton St. George in the pitching circle. And these are the kind of highlights that you're going to see from the circle when it comes to Peyton's performance. One of the top pitchers this year in Athletes Unlimited overall, not just in ERA, but also in strength and in depth. So McClenny, as the snake draft moves on, she will also have the first pick to begin round number 3. And after going back-to-back pitchers with her first 2 selections, odds are that she's going to want to take a position player with this coming pick in round number 3. Of course, it's early, so there's still a great deal of talent, whether it be behind the plate, corner infielder, middle infielder, or outfielders. And fans, it's time to earn points for watching. If you're an Unlimited Club member, enter the code that you see right now on your screen in your AU app to earn points and move up the leaderboard. The Unlimited Club provides great benefits, including voting on league decisions, interaction with players, signed items, and much more. For more information or to join today, go to auprosports.com. So all 4 captains are looking at this respective screen based on how many pitchers, outfielders, catchers, corner infielders, and middle infielders. And Haley is ready to start round 3.
Catcher, Erica Piancastelli.
Erica Piancastelli starts us off in round number 3. Will be wearing purple this weekend for Team McClenny. And she brings certainly some power at the plate, as Team Molipola saw over the weekend as she was wearing the gold. And she can provide a huge asset to Team McClenny. And you see the numbers that she has there. 3 home runs with her 10 RBIs, batting .344 on the season. And being behind the plate, that's going to be huge for the likes of Peyton St. George and Danielle O'Toole. So round number 3 is underway. Alyssa Denham, who is in the captain's chair for the first time this season, is standing by with the next pick. And so each captain's looking at this board, trying to figure out 4 pitchers, 3 outfielders, 2 catchers, 3 corner infielders, and 3 middle infielders. And Alyssa is standing by with her next pick.
Catcher, Savannah Jaquish.
Someone we saw last week wearing the blue. In fact, the last 2 weeks, Savannah Jaquish, one of the top veterans in Athletes Unlimited. And she'll bring that veteran experience, that leadership that we've seen from the captain's position, and certainly those numbers as well, batting over 400 on the season. Right now, she's in 6th place in leaderboard points, being 1,200 on the season. So after back-to-back weeks of being a captain, Savannah Jaquish, here's her name coming in this 3rd round, and again, will be wearing blue, this time for Team Denham. And so with that pick in, Team Chittister is next on the clock. We'll have the next 2 minutes to make their next selection. And again, some great talent, not only in the pitching circle with Carrie Eberly, Alicia Ocasio, who was last year's champion. You've got the power in the outfield with Shannon Rhodes, Mia Davidson, who's certainly made a mark this year as one of the rookies in Athletes Unlimited. And Amanda is ready to go with her pick.
Catcher, Taylor Edwards.
Taylor Edwards behind the plate. The next selection for Team Chittister, whose sister Tatum is one of the facilitators this season in Athletes Unlimited. There's the points that she has, 846 on the season, 2 home runs and 12 RBIs. And how about that? Tatum and Taylor both together in the Zoom room, in the draft room for Team Chittister. And again, it's great how these players interact with one another, whether it be through DMs, text messages, on the Slack channel. They work not only with the facilitator, but with the captain, and especially when we're talking week 5 in Athletes Unlimited, how every pick is so vital right now this week as we are about to crown a champion this coming weekend in Rosemont, Illinois. So we have seen so far, pitchers have been the hot commodity early on in the first 2 rounds, but as we wait for Deja, who has been in that gold chair for the last 3 weeks, she is yet to relinquish that number 1 overall spot, is ready to go with her next pick.
Outfielder, Victoria Hayward.
Outfielder Victoria Hayward, the final selection in round number 3 for Team Molipola, who, because of this snake draft order, will also have the first pick to begin the 4th round. And she's been on a hot streak, certainly midway through this point of the season. Numbers in terms of power, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, may not show it, but she's batting close to 400 on the season, and she can bring some power to that lineup for Team Molipoli, who's trying to come away with the championship this year. Is Deja right now in the number 1 spot. So Team Molipola, as we wait for their next selection, here's how it's shaped out so far in terms of the pitchers available: outfielders, catchers, corner infielders, and middle infielders. And Deja, as we wait for her next selection to begin the 4th round, again, each captain represents their first pick, and then they all have to select 14 other players to round out their roster of 15. And don't miss your final chance of the year to see the excitement of Athletes Unlimited softball in person from Rosemont, Illinois. Tickets for Week 5 available right now at auprosports.com/tickets. And again, the excitement is growing in year number 3 of Athletes Unlimited softball, as Deja ready to go with her next pick.
Pitcher, Carrie Eberly.
Carrie Eberly, the reigning Rookie of the Year in Athletes Unlimited, and the second pitcher selected by the catcher, Deja Molipola. And she will join Taylor McQuillan, who had a stellar standout performance. Eberly, in fact, they're the numbers on the screen. She has been a captain herself, and she was one of the trifecta picks last week for Team Chittister that catapulted Amanda to that number 2 spot. And so Carrie, there you see in the bottom right portion of your screen, joins into the draft room for Team Molipola as the 4th round is underway. Here's how the selections have gone for the respective teams, as Team Chittister is next on the clock. Each captain is going to have 2 minutes per pick, and the more we get in depth in terms of the latter rounds of this draft, automatic drop-ins become a crucial factor, as well as the fact that many of these captains have to make the right pick at the right time. Now, they do have to pick players in a certain category, but when players come into Athletes Unlimited, they have a designated position. Captains, though, can play them in whatever position they want to, but they must draft in those specific categories. So again, 4 pitchers, 2 catchers, 3 outfielders, 3 corner infielders, and 3 middle infielders. So thus far, Team Chittister has 1 of every position except outfielder. And so that perhaps may be the way she goes with this pick in round number 4. You've got some great talent atop there. Shannon Rhodes, Bubba Nichols, and Jasmine Jackson are a couple of the names. And Amanda is ready to make her next pick.
Outfielder, Bubba Nichols.
All right, so we thought about maybe potentially outfielder would be the way she goes, and it is the case in round number 4. Bubba Nichols, 12 RBIs with 3 home runs, 19th right now. She is in the league standings, batting .333 on the season. And so Bubba Nichols, coming into the draft room for Team Chittister, clearly is pumped up to be wearing that orange this coming weekend in Rosemont. And this is a draft where each pick is so vital for these captains, because you've got players who are in the top 10 trying to make that final push ahead of the 4 captains. Plus, you've got the 4 captains themselves trying to solidify that top spot. Most notably, obviously, Deja right now, who is wearing the gold uniform for a third straight week. So as we make our way through round number 4 of this 14-round draft, Alyssa Denham, first time in the chair, wearing blue this week. She will be making the next selection, followed by Team McClenny to round out this 4th round. And here is how the rosters have been formulated to this point thus far. Carrie Eberly and Bubba Nichols, the first 2 picks of round number 4. If you look at what Team Denham has done thus far, Rachel Garcia went number 1 overall for her as the number 2 overall pick. And here's how the top pitchers, Daniel O'Toole, who is the number 1 overall pick. Top 4 pitchers, though, by ERA will be wearing blue this week, Denham and Garcia. And Alyssa is ready for her next selection.
Corner infield, Tori Vidalis.
Tori Vidalis, who herself was a captain last year in Athletes Unlimited, also made one of the biggest jumps of the week, moving up 17 spots in the leaderboard standings. And because of performances like this, that one that still hasn't landed that home run, an even 1,000 points on the year, close to 400 batting on the season with 11 RBIs and 4 home runs. She now is in the draft room for Team Denham, wearing the blue this coming weekend in Rosemont, Illinois. You see some of the other players in the draft room as well, most notably in the middle portion of your screen, Savannah Jaquish. So that leaves Team McClenny with the final pick of round number 4. Haley, who took Daniel O'Toole and Peyton St. George with her first 2 picks going pitcher. Erica Piancastelli with her next selection behind the plate. So it'll be interesting to see what the outfielder does for her final pick of round number 4. And you see the needs right now that could be addressed by all these captains. So 2 pitchers thus far selected by Team McClenny, along with a catcher, an outfielder, Haley, that represents herself as the number 1 pick of her respective teams. So no corner infielders, no middle infielders. Every captain needs to have 3 of each to fulfill the requirement in Athletes Unlimited. So again, you've noticed this week compared to the previous 4, captains are taking a lot more time of that 2-minute allotment to make their picks because there is so much on the line this weekend in Rosemont, because a champion is going to be crowned in year number 3 of Athletes Unlimited. You've seen thus far these captains taking a majority of their time, and Haley is standing by with her pick.
Corner infielder, Sam Fisher.
So a need addressed in the 4th round, the final pick of that 4th round. As Team McClenny this time making the selection as Sam Fisher, top 10 in the league in overall points, 2 home runs with 6 RBIs. Going corner infielder is what Team McClenny wants to do, and so Sam Fisher is off the board, the final pick of round number 4. And as the snake draft works its way to the 5th round, Team McClenny is going to have the first pick to begin round number 5. So if you're just joining us here on YouTube, the 5th and final week of this draft special on YouTube, and we've seen thus far 4 rounds in the books. Here is how it's played out for Team Molipola, Team Chittister, Team Denham, and Team McClenny, who's going to have the first pick to begin round number 5.
Outfielder, Shannon Rhodes.
A big selection coming in round number 5 for Team McClenny. Haley's going to be joined in the outfield by Shannon Rhodes, who put up some powerful performances over the weekend in Rosemont wearing that orange uniform. Look at this, 400 batting on the season with the 6 home runs and 12 RBIs. Top 4 in batting average, number 2 in home runs overall this season behind Deja Molipola. And she will be wearing purple this weekend in Rosemont. So that's a big get here for Team McClenny. As you see by the numbers in terms of average, all 4 of these players have been drafted or are captains themselves. So as we are now into round number 5, pitchers available, outfielders, catchers, corner infielders, and middle infielders still on the board. And Alyssa is standing by with her next pick.
Middle infielder, Aubrey Leach.
Middle infielder Aubrey Leach is off the board. Will be wearing blue this weekend. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. And Leach, who has been more of a defensive standout, 371 average, 3 RBIs, and Team Denham making the selection midway through round number 5. And as you see, once the player hears their name, they're automatically zoomed in to the respective draft room of that captain who selected them. And halfway through, we've seen Shannon Rhodes and Aubrey Leach off the board. Team Chittister with the next pick.
Middle infielder, Kelsey Harshman.
A bronze medalist back in the 2020 games for Team Canada, Kelsey Harshman, who herself has been a captain this year in Athletes Unlimited, wearing the purple, and the lefty in the box showing off that power. Top 10 in the league with her 1 home run, 12 RBIs, and batting .378 on the season. One of the great personalities in Athletes Unlimited softball this season. And so she hears her name entered into the draft room for Team Chittister, will be donning the orange uniform. So 3 picks are in for round number 5. Rhodes, Leach, and Harshman right now are the first 3 selections of round number 5, and that leaves Team Molipola with the final selection to round out this 5th round. And you can tell what Deja has done thus far. Went pitcher with Taylor to start things off as the final pick in round number 1. Carrie Eberly, the reigning Rookie of the Year, with her last pick in round 4. Here's the Week 5 schedule available on ESPN Plus and on ESPNU. It's all started Friday in Rosemont, Illinois, with Team Denham versus Team Chittister and Team Molipola going up against Team McClenny. And we will know who the champion is going to be by week's end. And it's such great drama between all 4 of these captains. Again, 3 of the 4 are returning. Alyssa Denham, wearing the blue this week, is the only newcomer. In fact, the first pitcher in 3 weeks to be in the captain's chair. And as we wait for Deja, this is what she and the other 3 captains are looking at in terms of the needs that need to be addressed, whether it be a pitcher, outfielder, catchers, corner infielders, and middle infielders. Now, as a catcher, Deja has already picked 2 pitchers. Which way will she go with this pick? She's ready to make the next selection.
Middle infielder, Sydney Romero. Middle infielder, Sydney Romero.
Sydney Romero off the board. Go back by the numbers as what she did in the AUX season. 1,260 points when she batted .325 with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. She was a member of the 2020 Olympics for Mexico, and she certainly can be a threat not only at the plate but on the base paths as well. And she hears her name to round out the 5th round for Team Molipola. Will be wearing orange this coming weekend in Rosemont, Illinois. And so as this snake draft works its way to round number 6, Team Molipola is going to have the first pick. So back-to-back picks coming up for Deja, and this is what her roster looks like to this point, followed by Team Chittister in the orange, Team Denham in blue, and Team McClenny in the purple. And there's a great deal of drama, especially with Team Denham and Team McClenny right now, working their way through a tie, 1,316 leaderboard points, and then you've got Team Chittister, who catapulted herself, did Amanda into that number 2 spot, thanks in part to some timely drafting when it came to some talented pitchers. In fact, 3 of the top 4 in terms of ERA, but no one has been able to catch up with Deja wearing the gold for a 3rd straight week. So here's a look at the biggest movers of the week from this past weekend in week number 4. Kaylee Clifton still has not heard her name called just yet. We've seen Taylor McClellan go in the 1st round for gold. Tori Vidalis and Amanda Lorenz, each who had double-digit moves this past weekend. Lorenz going up 14 spots, Vidalis up 17 spots, both wearing blue. Deja is ready to go here in round 6.
Outfielder, Morgan Zirkle.
Morgan Zirkle, outfielder, taken to begin round number 6. Zirkle herself, a talented outfielder this year in Athletes Unlimited, a former captain herself, and some great defensive efforts that we've seen just like that one over the weekend in Rosemont. So there she is, bottom portion of your screen, zoomed into the draft room for Team Moipola. And so she'll be wearing the gold this weekend as round number 6 is underway. And now that puts the pressure and the focus on Team Chittister here in this 6th round, followed by Team Denham and Team McClenny. So Team Chittister went with Urtez as the 3rd overall pick. He's on the pitching circle. Taylor Edwards, Bubba Nichols, and Kelsey Harshman thus far have been the selection. All these captains right now looking at these players, 15 players for each team, and they're looking at how many pitchers can they take. 4 pitchers, 3 outfielders, 2 catchers, 3 corner infielders, and 3 middle infielders. Those are the requirements necessary in terms of the roster breakdown for Athletes Unlimited. So as we stand by for Team Chittister to make the next selection, here's how it looks in terms of home run league leaders. Moipola right now leading the way with 7, one of the captains. We saw Shannon Rhodes come off the board, and Amanda Chittister, there she is right now in solo in the 3rd spot as she's ready to make her pick.
Pitcher, Haley Wagner.
Okay, so we haven't seen a pitcher go for a few picks, it seems, but Wagner right now is taken in the 6th round by Team Chittister. The numbers there, 12 strikeouts to just 3 walks, has allowed 28 hits over 18 1/3. And so Haley hears her name into the draft room for Team Chittister, a lefty in the pitching circle. So already 2 pitchers taken by Team Chittister. And that leaves Team Denham on the board. Here's what Team Denham's done thus far. Denham along with Garcia, who had that great pitching battle over the weekend, where Denham had back-to-back complete games. Garcia pitched a 3-hitter in the loss. You've got also Lorenz, Jaquish, Vidalis, and Leach. And give credit to Melissa Denham being in the captain's chair in the final week. A lot of pressure on her shoulders trying to make that final push to trying to be crowned a champion. And speaking of champions, the defending one in Alicia Ocasio, still available on the board, has not been selected as we are midway through this 6th round. And Team Denham is ready with the next pick.
Middle infielder, Kaylee Clifton.
So Kaylee Clifton, who was one of the biggest movers this past week in Athletes Unlimited, moving up 20 spots, has been taken in round number 6 by Team Denham. 5 RBIs, 2 home runs on the season, 946 leaderboard points for her. And don't forget, if you look back at some of the highlights this year in Athletes Unlimited, just this past weekend, Clifton had the go-ahead 2-run home run for Team McClenny on Friday that earned her MVP 1 honors. And then she followed it up Saturday with a 3-for-5 performance. Haley is standing by with her next pick.
Middle infielder, Sis Bates.
I like the drama there by Team McClenny, taking just an extra breath to leave us just a little bit more surprised. Sis Bates, 744 points, flash in the leathers we see, the big 9.6. One of the all-time greats in Washington history. In fact, the inaugural Geico AUX softball defensive MVP, and you can tell there she is pumped up and ready to go, wearing that purple this weekend for Team McClenny. And so with 6 rounds in the books, Bates, the latest selection taken off the board. And as the snake draft works its way through the 7th round, Team McClenny is going to have the first pick of round number 7. And be sure to check out all of the Athletes Unlimited merchandise items, including softball player name and number tees, the new Love is Unlimited series, and a lot more by going to shop.auprosports.com. Pick something up today. Some great stuff there. Again, visit shop.auprosports.com. So as Team McClinney debates on which direction they want to go for round number 7, still a number of pitchers still left on the board, along with corner infielders. You've got to have 4 pitchers and 3 corner infielders. Only a handful of catchers remain, along with middle infielders and outfielders there, with Kiki Stokes O'Connor, Jasmine Jackson, and Aaliyah Andrews, Aaliyah, still available on the board for these captains to choose from. And round 7 ready to go. Haley making the pick.
Middle infielder, Abby Ramirez.
Abby Ramirez selected to wear purple this week for Team McClinney. 1,000 points on the season for her, 22nd in the league. And Abby Ramirez, back-to-back middle infielders after Sis Bates and now Abby Ramirez, the latest 2 selected. And again, once these players hear their names, they zoom in to the draft room of their respective captain that just drafted them. And they have the ability, along with their fellow teammates that were just selected, along with the facilitator and the captain, to work with one another to see what the vision is in terms of selecting their teams. And Alyssa with the next pick.
Catcher, Gwen Savekis.
Gwen Svekis is off the board here as the second catcher, so that is a dynamic tandem behind the plate with Svekis along with Jaquish. And you see the numbers there by Gwen, 956 points, which is 29th in the league, 1 home run with 6 RBIs, batting .242 on the season. So after going back-to-back middle infielders, catcher is the way that Team Denham wants to go midway through round number 7. And so with that, Team Chittister is on the clock, has 2 minutes, does Amanda to make her next selection, followed by Team Molipola. Chittister, as you've seen thus far, going with Urtez, Mizan, Edwards, Nichols, Harshman, and Wagner have been her selections thus far. And again, Team Chittister made one of the biggest jumps, going from 4th to 2nd this past weekend, based on the fact that she drafted so well, did Amanda, in terms of pitchers. 3 of the top 4 were wearing her uniform last week. And so here's how the roster position is breakdown of week number 5 so far. So look at Chittister right now. She's got 1 catcher, 1 outfielder thus far. She still needs to pick 2 pitchers, 2 corner outfielders, and another middle infielder to solidify the requirements in Athletes Unlimited. So this is the big board. This is what all the captains, the facilitators, and the fellow teammates of those captains are looking at this very moment in terms of what needs they have, who fits best, whether it be a pitcher, an outfielder, catcher, a corner infielder, or a middle infielder. And Sierra Romero, we've heard Sydney's name coming off the board. She's still available along with Riley Bayless. Still a number of corner infielders, the most desired spot right now, it seems, in terms of the availability of the number of players. And this is what each team has drafted to this point. Team Molipola, Team Chittister, Team Denham, and Team McClinney. So as we have worked our way through round number 7, still awaiting the selection for Team Chittister. Again, every captain has 2 minutes to make their selection per pick. And it's been clearly the most challenging draft thus far. Is Team Chittister ready to make the pick?
Outfielder, Jasmine Jackson.
Outfielder Jasmine Jackson is the second outfielder selected by Team Chittister. Bubba Nichols went in round number 4, and so Jackson with 992 leaderboard points. That is 24th best in the league. She hears her name and is immediately sent to the draft room for Team Chittister. With the players who have been selected, the captain and the facilitator all working together, whether it be through DMs, text messages, the Slack channel, trying to figure out and formulate the vision for the respective captains, because once we get to this week, week number 5, it is vital. Every pick is so crucial and important, not only for these captains, but also for those players who are selected by those respective captains. And Deja making the final pick of round 7.
Pitcher, Shannon Sale.
Another pitcher is off the board. Shannon Sale is the latest to hear her name. So 3 pitchers right now for Team Molipola. As Deja behind the plate has got some talent with Taylor along with Carey. And now Shannon is the latest pick. See the numbers there. The ERA higher than obviously Shannon would want it to be, but 13.2 innings pitched thus far this season, 5 strikeouts to 8 walks, having allowed 17 hits on the season. So Shannon hears her name into the draft room, and we are halfway through this draft in week number 5 of this 3rd season of Athletes Unlimited. And Deja, with this snake draft, begins round number 8.
Corner infielder, Lily Piper.
Okay, so Deja going corner infielder to begin this 8th round of 14 rounds in Athletes Unlimited. And Piper herself, who has been a captain last year, comes off the board, will be wearing gold this weekend in Rosemont. You see some of the highlights proving why third base is the hot corner. Lily Piper putting up some impressive numbers, and you can see in the bottom portion of your screen there, she joins in on the draft room chat for Team Molipola. And so she will be adding not only that veteran experience and defensive efforts that we saw, but also some great leadership. And so Team Chittister is now on the clock after last taking Jasmine Jackson. In her previous pick did Amanda. So Lily Piper, the first selection of the 8th round in this Week 5 draft special. And we've noticed too throughout this draft tonight that Team Chittister really has taken a good portion of her time in terms of making the selection that she feels the most comfortable with. So in terms of what Team Chittister is needing, another catcher, she needs another outfielder, 2 more pitchers, 2 more corner infielders, and 1 more middle infielder. And you see what Deja along with Alyssa and Haley have done as well. Here are the players that still remain. So in terms of pitchers, you still got some great talent there. Greta Giacchetti, who has been a veteran in the sport. You've got the defending champion in Alicia Ocasio. Outfielders that are still available, Rachel Lewis, Megan Wiggins, Leah Andrews. And Team Chittister is standing by with the next pick.
I needed something to solidify the difference. Pitcher, Sydney Littlejohn.
The best name in Athletes Unlimited, Sydney Littlejohn Watkins, is off the board. So an interesting play for Team Chittister. 2 of their last 3 picks have been pitchers, and so that is the 3rd pitcher taken for Team Chittister, as Sydney's going to be wearing orange this weekend. And she there is in the draft room for Team Chittister, and now Team Denham is on the clock with 2 minutes next to make her selection, as we have reached the midway point of round number 8, and Alyssa is ready to go.
Outfielder, Megan Wiggins.
Megan Wiggins, outfielder, the latest selection taken off the board. This time will be wearing blue for Team Denham this coming weekend, as Alyssa in the chair for the first time this season and the first pitcher in 3 weeks to in fact be a captain. So you see the numbers by Wiggins, 650 points, hoping to make an impact. And she is in the draft room now officially with Team Denham, as that pick is confirmed, works for Team Denham. And she is pumped up and ready to go. So Lily Piper, Sydney Littlejohn Watkins, and Megan Wiggins, the first 3 picks, as Team McClinney will have the last pick in round number 8, and she'll also have, because of the snake draft, the first pick in round number 9. And just keep in mind, again, when players come into Athletes Unlimited, they come in with a designated position, but they can play any of those players. The captain can, once they have them, but you got to draft them in those categories. And Haley is ready for the final pick of round 8.
Middle infielder, Andrea Filler.
All right, so middle infielder is the direction that Team McClinney wants to go in the final pick of round number 8 of this Week 5 draft special. Andrea Filler. See the numbers there, plus the highlights. 3 RBIs, batting .281 on the season with 792 points. Some excitement to wear purple this weekend. And so she is zoomed into the draft room for Team McClinney, who quickly has to turn things around and pick first in round number 9 because of this snake draft order. But again, what's great about Athletes Unlimited, if you're new to it, is the fact that each week new teams are formed. And so each captain is looking at what is best available left on the board in terms of pitchers. You need 4 of those on your roster. You need 3 outfielders, 2 catchers, 3 corner infielders, and 3 middle infielders. So Deja, who is wearing gold for the 3rd week in a row, is the #1 point getter thus far, followed by orange, blue, and purple. So Deja is in the best position to try to be crowned champion this year in Athletes Unlimited. And we just ran through it before, but again, in terms of what the captains have to do, these are requirements to fulfill your 15-player roster in Athletes Unlimited. You need 4 pitchers, you need 2 catchers, 3 middle infielders, 3 corner infielders, and 3 outfielders. So as we get to this Week 5 draft, the ladder rounds become so crucial for these captains. Not only do they want to select the right player at the right time for their respective teams, but at the same time, they want to be in a position not to have to make a mistake. Team McClinney ready to go in round 9.
Pitcher, Maggie Ballant.
Pitcher, after going 3 straight middle infielders, does Team McClinney. A pitcher is the selection. Maggie Ballant will be joined by Daniel O'Toole and Peyton St. George as the 3rd pitcher on the roster for Team McClinney, wearing purple this weekend. The 12 strikeouts to 13 walk ratio for Maggie Ballant, who right now is 39th in the league with 844 leaderboard points. She begins round number 9 off the board. So thus far, 3 middle infielders, 1 corner infielder, 2 outfielders, including Haley herself, and you've got 1 catcher off the board as well. So with round number 9 underway, Team Denham is next on the clock after going with Garcia, Lorenz, Jaquish, Vidalis. Her last 4 picks have been Aubrey Leach, Kaylee Clifton, Gwen Vekas, and Megan Wiggins. And Alyssa Denham, who had one of the best pitching performances, has already taken Rachel Garcia. Who's next? Here is Alyssa with her pick.
Corner infield, my best friend, DJ Sanders.
I think the biggest question DJ's going to have is, as my BFF, why was I taken in the 9th round? Shouldn't I have been taken in the top 5? But either way, DJ Sanders and Alyssa Denham getting reacquainted once again. This time it's going to be Sanders wearing blue after donning the gold last weekend in Rosemont. Just under 1,100 points on the season, and there's got to be a great deal of excitement. Double hand wave for DJ Sanders coming into the draft room for Team Denham. And so with that, 2 picks are in the books with Maggie Ballant and DJ Sanders, and that will put Team Chittister on the clock. She went with Sydney Littlejohn Watkins with her last pick in round number 8. And Amanda's standing by and is ready to go. Well, we thought momentarily she was ready, but she wants to use all of her 2 minutes. And so we thought she had her pick ready to go, but Team Chittister wanting to take just a few more seconds just to double check with her facilitator and her teammates as well that she's already selected. And after Team Chittister, Team Molapola is going to make the final pick, but Amanda is ready and standing by.
Corner infielder, Sydney Sherrill.
Okay, so 3 picks are in round number 9. Team Chittister, after going pitcher, outfielder and pitcher. This time, corner infielder Sydney Sherrill with 790 points in Athletes Unlimited this season is taken in round number 9. Here's her name, and so she goes right into the draft room for Team Chittister, and that puts Deja Molipola on the clock for the final pick of round number 9. So you've seen thus far how it's shaped out in round number 9. Maggie Ballot, DJ Sanders, and Sydney Sherrill, the latest pick. For every run scored during this year's Athletes Unlimited softball season, Aspiration is planting 10 trees. Heading into this week, 2,430 trees have been committed this season thanks to Aspiration's support. So the list for players remaining as we get to the latter stages of this draft, this final draft of season number 3 in Athletes Unlimited, the final pick coming up in round number 9. So we've only got 5 pitchers left, 4 outfielders, 3 catchers, 6 corner infielders, and 3 middle infielders. And that is what Deja, her facilitator, the rest of the team for Team Molipola are looking at this very moment to try to make that final selection for round number 9. And as the snake draft works its way to round 10, she'll also have the first pick of the 10th round. So Deja, this is what the requirements still need to be fulfilled for gold. She needs a catcher right behind her. She needs one of everything except 2 corner infielders. She needs 2 of those. Outside of that, she's done a pretty good job in terms of balancing her roster, and she is standing by ready to make that last pick here of round number 9.
Catcher, Mia Davidson.
Mia Davidson taken as the final pick in round number 9, and Davidson out of Mississippi State, who has been certainly a strong contender this year, coming right out of the gates with 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and batting .321 on the season. One of 13 players in Athletes Unlimited softball college draft. So she hears her name at the final round 9, and 10th round, ready to go. Deja making her pick.
Pitcher, Odyssey Alexander.
Okay, so pitcher is the way that we see round number 10 begin. Odyssey Alexander. And so that will be the 4th and final pitcher needed for Team Molipola. There are the numbers for Alexander on the season. 18 innings of work, striking out 14 while surrendering 8 walks with an ERA just under 6 on the season. And in fact, not only can she pitch inside the pitching circle, but she can also be one of those versatile players, having played first base over last weekend. So again, that is one of the interesting situations that is built up with Athletes Unlimited, because when players come into Athletes Unlimited, they have a designated position, but again, they can play, those players, the captains can, in any position that they want once they have them, but they've got to draft them in those categories. So Odyssey Alexander falls into that category. So Alexander, the first pick taken in round number 10. Team Chittister is on the clock, 2 minutes to make her next selection. And we've seen a variety as well from Team Chittister. Here's how her roster has broken down to this point. Sydney Sherrill, her last pick. Who's going to be her next selection?
Pitcher, Sarah Groenwagen.
All right, so Sarah Groenwagen is going to be inactive for the game available on August 26th. So she has been taken in round number 10, 682 points in 12 2/3 in the circle. And she hears her name, will be wearing orange this final weekend of season number 3 for Athletes Unlimited. Channeled in to the draft room for Team Chittister. And Alyssa Denham is standing by with the next pick, went DJ Sanders, and is ready to make her next selection.
Pitcher, Alicia Ocasio.
So there we go. We waited down to round number 10. And so Ocasio, who is going to be active with limitations, but look at the pitchers right now, along with Denham. It's going to be Rachel Garcia and the defending Athletes Unlimited champion from a year ago, that being Alicia Ocasio. ERA over 4 and 23 1/3 innings of work, striking out 21 with 10 walks, I should say, surrendered, with over 1,000 leaderboard points on the season in this third year. So Team Denham stacking up with some great talent in the pitching circle. A lot of blue for the top 4 pitchers by ERA through the first 4 weeks. Denham, the captain for Team Denham, with a 1.62 ERA. Then you've got Rachel Garcia, the former Bruin, who was the first pick in this week's draft for Alyssa Denham. And just now, Alicia Ocasio, last year's defending champion, is going to be wearing the blue as well. Daniel O'Toole, who was the #1 overall pick by Team McClenny, who is standing by with the next selection. As we wait to round out round number 10, O'Toole, the lefty in the pitching circle, the #1 overall pick, joining Urtez and Garcia. Haley is ready to go with her pick.
Corner infielder, Nadia Taylor.
Nadia Taylor, corner infielder, the final pick in this 10th round of week number 5 draft special here on YouTube. So Team McClenny going for the need of corner infielder, the second one along with Sam Fisher. So one more for Team McClenny to satisfy that requirement in Athletes Unlimited. So 10 rounds right now in the books in this final draft special on YouTube. And here is how the rosters have been constructed to this point for Team Molipola, along with Team Chittister, Team Denham, and Team McClenny, who is going to also have, because of the snake draft, the way it works, is going to have the first pick in the 11th round to start us off. And if you're just joining us, again, this has been great to see different players in the chair throughout this season in Athletes Unlimited. Alyssa Denham, first time in the chair this year as a captain. And Haley McClenny, third straight time she has been sitting in the captain's chair. She right now is in 4th place on the leaderboard with 1,316 points. So 10 rounds are in the books of 14. And again, this is where it becomes very challenging portion of the draft for all of these captains as we take a sneak peek inside the draft room for Team McClenny. Nadia Taylor, her last selection. You can see there her facilitator next to Haley being Jen Salling. All the players that have been selected by Haley go into that respective draft room and they can converse, consult with the captain, with the facilitator, who realistically is like an assistant GM to the captain, and they're all deciding which direction they want to go. You only got 2 pitchers left, and we look at what Haley's needs are right now. She still needs a catcher. She needs one more outfielder and another pitcher, and she needs one more corner infielder. So she's already maxed out the requirement when it comes to middle infielders. And round 11 is ready to go. Haley standing by with her pick.
Yeah. Pitcher, Danielle Watson.
Going pitcher to begin round number 11. After taking Taylor in the previous round in the 10th, Danielle Watson. Just 5 1/3 innings of work, 584 points on the leaderboard standings, and she comes in, gets a big wave, a lot of high fives coming in to the draft room for Team McClenny, with round 11 is coming up, and it's already underway with the first pick after Team McClenny. As we wait for Team Denham, guess what? If you're an Unlimited Club member, Week 5, here's your meet and greet coming up after us here on YouTube with the Week 5 draft special. Alyssa Denham is going to be part of the meet and greet. You can upgrade or join as an MVP or as a captain. And Alyssa is ready to go with her next pick.
Middle infielder, Janae Jefferson.
Middle infielder Janae Jefferson. So a good balance that we've seen over the last 4 picks by Team Denham, having gone with Wiggins as an outfielder in round 8, DJ Sanders, corner infielder in round 9, Ocasio in the pitching circle in round 10, and Janae Jefferson now as the middle infielder, the last one needed as the requirement fulfilled for Team Denham comes midway through round number 11. So that leaves Team Chittister and Team Molipola with final selections in the 11th round of this 14-round draft. Here's what Team Chittister has done. Amanda standing by with her next pick.
Catchers, I'm just kidding. We're gonna go corner infielder, Haley Busby.
Feeling like a lot of drama, a lot of entertaining drama it is. Haley Busby is off the board. The third pick in round number 11 is going to be donning that orange jersey, and you can see all the captains there having a lot of fun. Even though it's challenging and they're going up against one another in terms of formulating their team, it's great sportsmanship all the way around. And so Busby is now in the draft room for Team Chittister, going to wear orange this weekend in Rosemont, Illinois. Again, those games coming up on ESPN Plus and on ESPNU over this weekend. The final week number 5 of season number 3 of Athletes Unlimited Softball. So Team Molipola is on the clock, standing by, waiting to see which direction Deja is going to go with her final pick to round out this 11th round. She'll also have the first pick in the 12th round based on this snake draft order. But so far over the last 3 weeks, no one has been able to relinquish that top spot that Deja's been able to hold on to. And the question is, can she maintain that for one more week to be crowned champion in Athletes Unlimited in the 3rd year? So Watson, Jefferson, and Busby, the selections in round number 11. Deja, who has 2 minutes to make her next selection, we'll have to see which way she drafts. So as we wait to see what Deja does in her next pick, right now she's in the lead in terms of the Triple Crown. 432 on the season. That is tops in Athletes Unlimited. 7 home runs, 1 better than Shannon Rhodes. 16 RBIs, which is 3 better than Jaquish. And 9 runs scored to this point. McClenny and Jaquish and Rhodes all in double digits in that category. But Deja has been putting up some monster numbers this year. There's a reason why she has been wearing the gold uniform. And she is ready, is Deja, to make her pick.
Outfielder, Aaliyah Andrews.
Well, they call her Aaliyah for a reason. She's been making some unbelievable plays this season on the defensive side. And so Andrews, here's her name as the final pick in round number 11. And just before we went on the air, we got the news that Andrews has been upgraded to active with limitations. She was questionable earlier this morning, but she has since then been upgraded again to active with limitations. So Andrews, the final pick of round 11, there at the bottom portion of your screen. So she's off the board. 11 rounds has been completed of this 14-round draft. And because of the snake draft order, Team Molipola is going to start off round number 12. So here's how the 11 rounds have gone thus far in terms of the construction for all of these teams. Team Molipola, Team Chittister, Team Denham, and Team McClenny. 3 of the 4 teams have the same captain, that being Team Molipola, Team Chittister, and Team McClenny. Team Denham, first-time captain this year, Alyssa Denham, after what we saw overall in the last weekend. We saw a back-to-back great pitching performance from Denham. Here's what Deja is looking at in terms of needs, and she is ready to go to begin round number 12.
Middle infielder, Sierra Romero.
Sierra Romero, who's also seen her sister Sydney come off the board. They will be teammates this coming weekend in Rosemont. Both the Romeros are going to be wearing gold this weekend. And so another middle infielder is off the board, and that'll be the 3rd and final one needed, along with Sydney Romero and Hannah Flippin, to fulfill that requirement. So the Romero sisters joining up with Team Molipola in the draft room, along with Morgan Zirkle, you see there in the cluster of players that are inside that draft room. So round number 12 is underway. Team Molipola has selected Sierra Romero to begin things, so Team Chittister will be up next, followed by Team Denham and Team McClenny. And this is where it gets even more challenging. What is needed for Team Chittister, needed for Team Denham and Team McClenny? And then also we could potentially see automatic drop-ins come in towards the 13th and 14th final round of this Week 5 draft special. So again, here's what the schedule looks like from Rosemont, Illinois in Week 5. We'll talk about that more throughout the draft, but Team Chittister is ready to make the next pick.
Outfielder Kiki Stokes.
Kiki Stokes O'Connor is drafted and heading to wear orange this weekend for Team Chittister. And so that will be the third outfielder, joining Jasmine Jackson and Bubba Nichols. So that requirement is filled by Team Chittister, the star standout from her days in Nebraska. And you see that cause as well, win for KC. What's great about the players in Athletes Unlimited, each player has a specific charity or cause that they play for. And so half their leaderboard bonus is matched and donated to that specific charity or cause. And we move on in round 12, Alyssa with her pick.
Corner infield Danielle Gibson.
Danielle Gibson, the latest name out of Arkansas. Here's her name coming off the board, wearing blue this weekend for Team Denim. So after Janae Jefferson went middle infielder, corner infielder is where Team Denim sees their biggest need. A 1 home run, 5 RBIs, .320 batting average for Danielle Gibson, who zooms into the draft room for Team Denim. She's joined by the teammates such as Tori Vidalis, Savannah Jaquish, Megan Wiggins. And that leaves Team McClinney with the final pick of round 12, and she is ready to go.
Corner infielder, Allie Harrell.
Allie Harrell is the final pick in round number 12. So you take a look at what Team McClinney has done. Rounds 6 through 8, she went strictly middle infielder. And here now she went corner infielder. As Harrell out of Marshall, Play Like a Girl is her specific cause, and she double waves into that draft room. And so here's the rosters through 12 rounds of this Week 5 draft special, season number 3 of Athletes Unlimited, and Team McClinney is ready to go in round 13.
Catcher, Sachel Palacios.
We have not heard a catcher in quite some time, but Sachel Palacios is the first catcher off the board in round number 13. And so she will join Erica Piancastelli for Team McClinney. So that is the 2 catcher requirement fulfilled by Team McClinney. And Alyssa is standing by with her next pick.
Outfielder Rachel Lewis.
Just to make sure, it's outfielder Rachel Lewis. Danielle Gibson, the last pick in round 12. Rachel Lewis selected to wear blue this weekend in Rosemont, as the outfielder will be joined by Megan Wiggins along with Amanda Lorenz. So 3 outfielders, that fulfills that roster requirement for Team Denim. And so now the focus and the pressure put on the shoulders squarely of Team Chittister with the 3rd pick of this round. As you look at Team Denim's draft room, here is how it has worked out through 12 and a half rounds. We're midway through this 13th round. Kiki Stokes O'Connor was the last pick by Team Chittister. Who will she go with now?
Catcher Jordan Roberts.
All right, so after taking Kiki Stokes O'Connor, Jordan Roberts is the second catcher, who will be joined up with Taylor Edwards, who, again, interestingly enough, the facilitator this week was her sister Tatum for Team Chittister. There is the draft room as Team Chittister latest selection, with Roberts wearing orange this weekend in the final week of the 3rd season of Athletes Unlimited. Deja has the final pick of round number 13 and is standing by to make that pick.
Corner infielder, Allison Febri.
Allison Febri is the newest. Febri is the next selection. And after taking Sierra Romero, middle infielder, everything else now is going to be an automatic drop-in for these captains. So Courtney Gano, who is questionable for this weekend, is going to be the corner infielder. That is the round out the 4 13 picks. Gano is the automatic drop-in for Team Moepola. That is the requirement, the position needed to fulfill in terms of the roster. Riley Bayless is the final drop-in for Team Chittister. Team Denham going with the veteran Greta Giacchetti. And Nicole Rangel Mendez is the final pick for Team McClinney. So there we go. 60 players. Let's take a look. Team McClinney inside their draft room, ready to go. Will Haley make that final push? Or could it be the newcomer to the group, Team Denham? A lot of great selections with Tori Vidalis, Savannah Jaquish. Could she take down the likes of Deja Moepola? Certainly likes her team. Let's take a look at the schedule coming up on Friday, starting on ESPN Plus, Saturday on ESPNU, and we round out the action from Rosemont on Sunday on ESPN Plus. Big thanks to our executive producer, Sherry Kempf, our producer, Jay Levy, and all those behind the scenes this season working on this draft special all season long on YouTube. I'm John Brickley. Enjoy the games this weekend from Rosemont, where a champion will be crowned.